What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Ju. Here my boy Ed. How you doing?
Good, man. I'm good.
Another day, another week, another episode. I think this is 12?
11.
11? Okay. Episode 11. You're here with the Transferable Experience podcast with your boys, Ju, Ed. We want to welcome y'all to another rendition.
No, sir. You are right. Sorry about that. This is
12.
episode
12. Hey, see, boys been in this mud for a little minute now. We're getting it confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, y'all, appreciate y'all checking us out, man. You know, y'all already know the slogan, man.
Do all the things on all the things.
All the things, man. We appreciate y'all, man. So we're going to jump right into it. My boy Ed is here. Good to see you, brother. You look like you in good health.
Man, I am. I finally did it, man. I've been talking about it forever, man, but I finally started working out before work, which means I was waking up around 4:45 every morning.
See, man, that's a different type of discipline.
Well, okay, so what happened Tuesday was just one of those weird things where I just woke up kind of like in the middle of the night, and I was like, I'm up.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I can either just chill here in bed to about 6 something, or I can be productive. And I was like, I'm going to just go work out. I'm going to get out of, because getting out the bed is the hardest part for me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I did it, and gym was empty.
Oh, man, that's the best.
Yeah, man. And it was real cool. And it just made for a smooth morning. So then the next day I was just like, okay, now I got to actually set alarms and do this. And it was cool that Wednesday. Then Thursday, not going to lie, I had to really get out of bed. But then Friday was Friday, so I happily got out of bed. And it's cool, man. It's like that little small change has really kind of like altered my days, because now it's not just like task oriented. Like that time after work is just freedom time for me now.
It definitely opened up a slot in your day.
Yeah, like my entire evening, once I get home, it's just free now.
And you like that better?
Yeah, man. Just that freedom and just
you don't feel like so constrained to get things done. Yeah,
I feel like I have more of my day back. I played the game with Paul. I haven't did that in like, I don't know the last time. Like, I really had just time to do whatever.
I'm about to say, I know you don't really play the game like that.
Yeah, I just had time to do whatever. It was great, man. So I was like, oh no. And
that got to feel better, like in the morning, right? Like, I mean, now that it's kind of warming up a little bit, it's a little brisk in the morning, but it ain't just like super cold. Like,
too bad.
Yeah.
And then like what morning workouts used to make me feel like, it don't make me feel like that. Like doing that kind of like made me be like ready for the day and like feel good, because I'm like, I guess because normally, you got to like take time to get going. It's like I woke up early and went through that process. So now when I'm like already at work, I'm already ready to go. I don't need that little period of just. You've
already jump started your day way before. Like, this is just, I'm in the groove now.
Yeah. So it's good, man. And that was a pretty significant change for me.
Okay, man.
How was your week, though?
Oh, man. First of all, that's great to hear, man. I'm glad you're doing that. My week, it was pretty, it was just pretty routine. I can't even lie and say anything just stood out specifically.
Yeah.
I do got some things going on back home that I've assumed responsibilities for, but it's okay. Nothing too major.
Yeah.
But I just been doing my little thing, working out. After I go to work and everything like that, they are putting like some new regulations on our job. So I'm kind of having to adjust how I approach work.
Okay.
And like, I mean, I've been there for a pretty good amount of time now. So I had a way of doing things that I was like comfortable with. And now I got to like change up my whole, not like routine, but my whole approach. And it's kind of like weird. And like, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of fight that at first. I'm a person that like kind of fight that. I'm okay with change. Like, change don't bother me.
Yeah.
It's like unwarranted change. Like, they didn't really kind of like tell us that this was happening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of with anything in life for me. Like, if you don't tell me something's about to change and it's just thrust upon me, I'm going to adapt because I can. But I'm going to just be like, whoa,
Yeah.
Preparation for this could have been so much easier. You know what I mean? And they really kind of had me frustrated at work this like whole week. And like it took me till about yesterday, you know what I'm saying, Friday, to kind of just accept it. Like, okay, this is just a new way we doing things. Let me just lean to the curb. And it also helped that they took us to breakfast too.
Where they took y'all to?
We went to this pancake house in Fort Worth. It's called Old South.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I passed it a couple times just in work and whatever. And I finally went on the inside and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I mean,
it's cool. I've been there.
You been there a couple times?
Yeah.
Is it 24 hours? They say it's like 24 hours.
I don't know. I guess I went there one time. It had a crowd though. It's like a staple.
Yeah, that's what they was telling me. It was like, I was like, man, I ain't never been inside. I just always seen the building. It's a nice little building though. Outside of that, still doing my reading. Letting y'all know that the pact is pretty good. It's still going good. I'm pretty much done with it. And I know I was mentioning it a couple of episodes ago that it helped me really look at friendships and everything like that. And that was before we even had a podcast about whatever. You know what I'm saying? About friendships or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm finishing that. So I'm moving on to the next book, which is funny because my sister, I think she wants to buy me a book or something like that. And I was like, hold on, I got to read the books I got right now.
So are you one of them people that can read multiple books at a time?
I am not, bro. I'm not that skilled.
Yeah, that's...
Because if I got a book, I'm really going to be like zoned in on that book pretty much until I'm done. Because even when I'm not reading it, I think about it.
I was like, when I read a book and like it's good and I'm enjoying it, I like getting like engulfed in that book. So I couldn't imagine like having two books going and I would imagine some of that information to kind of get lost in the other book. Like I'd be like, I don't know. I just
they got people that like
Earlton got that. He read like multiple books at a time. And I just be like,
I have a friend, Jesse. Shout out to you, Jesse. Like he'll close a book and just open the next book and just boom, switch right over right there. And I'm just like,
in the midst of it, huh?
Yeah. How do you even change your mentality to like?
No,
to
I read one book at a time.
I'm the same way. Especially if it's like if it's a long book for sure. I don't know. I also get engulfed into finishing things. I think I'm really big on that. Like I start this, I'm gonna finish it. So I think that kind of bleeds over to that.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. Like I can't just like I have to finish that before I move on to the next thing. I mean, that's how I clean too. Like if like I kind of clean by like room.
Yep.
So if I start in the kitchen, I can't just get halfway through the dishes, then go do something else, then come back. Like no. I complete one thing at a time.
I definitely start with the kitchen, living room, and then I do my room, then laundry and stuff like that. So I definitely understand, but it'd be one thing I'm focused on at a time. But I gotta get it done.
Yeah.
But nah, man. Outside of that, I mean, have you had anything interesting happening in the life that you want to let the people know about or something like that? You know what I'm saying?
Not this previous week. That was my main thing, the time, like, waking up in the morning, like that really made a big difference in my life. I can't like, and it was just 1 week, so, cause I was kind of nervous about, about how like the whole, okay, now I got to go to sleep earlier. But Earlton told me if you waking up that early, you naturally going to be tired and ready to go to sleep come 9. Yeah. And lo and behold.
Yeah. That's what I was about to ask you too.
Like it wasn't like I need to rush and try to get in the bed. No, it was like, I'm ready. Like
I'm done. There's no more.
Yeah. And it's not like I'm about to be up for 2 hours and I'm just chilling. No,
you going to sleep.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool though, man. And it's always crazy. Cause like I said, it's like, it was one of those things where I knew what it would do for me, but I still was like apprehensive. And like, I try to be like very like intentional with stuff like that, where it's like, if I don't do something, then the only reason I'm not doing it is because out of like laziness, I like purposely do it like there instantly. Cause man, that laziness, man, that's
a hard bug to shake.
Yeah, and that's a serious one too, and it start with little small stuff, and then it just leak into other stuff, and
then next thing you know, you looking up, you're like, "Bro, I had just been a bum for like the last 2 weeks."
So I said, I get up and just do it and get it done. It make me feel a little bit better too.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely understand that, which is kind of interesting that you're saying that. Like, do you feel like now that you've stepped into this new way of doing things, do you feel like you've been cheating yourself prior? Or,
yeah, I was making my life harder than it had to be. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't like, I was making my life harder than it had to be. Because now how it's set up with waking up early, I can like have parts of my day that I can just enjoy. It's not, like I said, it's not task based. I'm not trying to complete a task. I'm just relaxing, just chilling. Like there's no
rush. There's no like,
it's like, oh no, I got to do this because I need to do this and check it off. No, it's just I'm just
probably helps with a lot of anxiety too to kind of ease that. Like you know what I'm saying.
Like I said, it make my weekdays way more enjoyable now, knowing that I'm gonna have that little time to just chill.
For sure, man. I got a moment of transparency like that happened this week. Like me and my significant other, we kind of had a little tiff. You know what I mean? It wasn't nothing too bad. Like ain't nobody like cut ties or nothing like that. But there was definitely a situation where like she wants more of my time. You know what I mean? And I get so caught up in my daily routines and everything like that sometimes like unknowingly and like unintentionally she might get the short end of the stick as far as like time that's available. And like she kind of really got on my head about that. You know what I mean? Recently. Yeah. And we were talking and like she's really just like laying it on me like, man, you know, you make time for this, you prioritize this. Like where do I fit in right there? You know what I mean? Which is a very, I mean, honest question, good question, valid question. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I had to have a real conversation with myself and look at what I was doing and saying, dang, Ju, like, she's not wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it brought me to this impasse, and I was just like, what do I do right here? Because I could say I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? But nobody really takes, I mean, sorries only go so far. Yeah. Before corrective behavior is expected. And then it just gets like very disrespectful. You know what I mean? And like, I found myself, because we was outside in the parking lot. I was at her car, and I was saying I'm sorry, and she was like, "Yeah, so what they mean, blah 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 blah." And I had to like internal question with myself, like, what am I asking her for? Like, what am I saying sorry for? Do I want her forgiveness? You know what I'm saying? Or do I just want her to give me a pass? Which I know sometimes us men do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even though we don't admit it. And then I was just started saying, I was like, even if she said she forgave me, like what did that even, you know, what does that even mean? What is that? You know what I'm saying? Do I expect, like if she said, okay, baby, I forgive you. Am I is that me expecting her to like never bring that up again? You know what I mean? Is she just supposed to leave that alone like forever now?
Yeah, I'm about to say, can you continue doing what you're doing? Yeah. Do you need to change something or?
Yeah, exactly.
Or is she just saying, I accept it now?
Yeah, which is very, very unhealthy. You know what I'm saying? Which is probably very unhealthy. And I just want to ask you that question, like, when you're in a situation like that, it don't got to be with like a intimate partner or anything like that. It could be with anything. Like, when somebody's like, forgiving you, or when you're trying to forgive someone, how do you even approach that? Like, because I tried to put myself in her shoes to see, like, you know what I'm saying? Because she was like, put yourself in my shoes. What would you think? You know what I'm saying? So I just want to ask you that, like.
Well, in like any type of situation like that, I think the first step is you acknowledging the wrong. Because I was thinking about this week actually, where it's like sometimes like your intent isn't to cause harm. Okay. Like your intentions could be pure. Like you don't mean any harm. Like you going about your day, you don't mean to harm anybody. You just going about your day. Yeah. But then once somebody tell you
what you really doing,
that it is, then it's up to you to change it, because at that point, once you know that it is causing someone harm,
I'm really listening.
Yeah, like once you know that it is causing someone harm, then beyond that, then it is you like
okay.
You know what you're doing is wrong.
Exactly.
If you don't correct it, then that's on you.
Exactly.
But up until that point, you may not be aware. So I guess in a situation like till you get to that point to where you're aware, you might apologize because you just simply aren't aware. But from that point, it becomes changed behavior, because if you don't change your behavior, then you are knowingly doing something that you know cause harm.
Oh shoot, that boy spitting. That boy spitting.
At that point, then it can be seen as like a disrespectful action because you know what you're doing, but you continue to do it.
Now it seems more like willful ignorance than just, you know what I'm saying, like you know what I'm saying, instead of just like you not knowing.
Yeah. Because then at that point you accountable for that, because if you know that you're doing something, and it's causing someone harm or discomfort or some negative feeling, then you're accountable for that. And that's why I say, like, I think up until that point, this a changed action. So if you're on the other side of that where they may not know, so you got to communicate. Then once they do know and they say sorry, I think the sorry is just saying that I apologize because I wasn't aware.
What is a sorry to you?
It's just the acknowledge of the wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's all it is. A sorry is just you acknowledging it. But
it's used so much. It's like a sorry.
It doesn't hold weight. It
doesn't hold any weight.
Saying because just because you acknowledge something don't mean that doesn't really mean. It's just saying, okay.
Yeah.
You brought it to my attention. But that's why I say, I think for me, when you talk about forgiveness, that's when it come with what you do after, for me. Because a sorry is, like I say, it's just like you just acknowledging it, but what comes after is what matters to me. Like if you just continue, then it's like, okay, you don't care. You just, I told you what it, what it was causing or made me feel or whatever, some negative emotion, and you continue doing it. So clearly you don't care. So words won't fix it,
at that point.
But after the sorry, it's not about words at that point. It's about actions and stuff. So I think, and far as forgiveness, to me, I feel like that's where it come in, to where if there's a changed behavior, then it's like, okay, it was corrected. We're good now. Like, I guess forgiveness is when it's like that issue is settled and you don't have to worry about it anymore because it was corrected. Well, I guess that's in some situations, because forgiveness is weird though, because
it is weird.
It could be something that happened years ago and y'all have moved on, but you know.
I mean, like, okay, like just using my example, I was in a position where I was seeking forgiveness, right? So just to kind of break it down, I don't know. We just work through it together. It's Transferable Experience Podcast,
Yeah.
I was seeking forgiveness. So I'm going to try to answer the question, like, what was I really wanting to happen with her forgiving me, right? I wanted to first, like you said, I said, sorry. I wanted to first acknowledge that, okay, I have wrong. You have voiced a concern to me. That concern was then taken by me, and I have internalized it, and I have applied it to myself. And I realized that what I have been doing has not been enough, or it has altered your way of feeling up until this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like, boom, baby, I'm sorry. Okay, that's me saying what you said is value and valid. I don't want to make it seem like I'm taking it lightly. But that's just the sorry, right? That's just it's like a platitude almost. It's like I'm saying it, but like I'm saying it as a precursor to.
Yeah, I want to say that's literally what it is.
Yeah. So in seeking forgiveness, I wanted her. I guess what I really wanted her to do with her forgiving me is saying that, okay, you fell short. You know what I mean? You definitely hurt me. You know what I'm saying? You definitely disappointed me in this way. But the forgiveness comes into like, but I can accept your shortcoming if you're willing to work on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I'm going to or I guess I say this. I want you to allow me the space to improve. That's what I want. That's what this is me seeking forgiveness though. Like, you know what I mean? Like looking for it. You know what I'm saying? I think when people talk about forgiveness, we think about the stuff we done to people. And then, you know what I'm saying, not so much when we actually are the person committing the wrong. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's what I wanted for her, because I wanted to say, although I messed up, I mean, I don't want it to be over, but I also want to be given a chance to.
Yeah, and I think
if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I think in forgiveness is like you want people to, I guess, return to like a calm state to where they're not bothered or not, or like just like you trying like forgiveness. You want people to just to return to like a peaceful state, because if you might be doing something, it might have someone where they're like outwardly livid or like, you know, like it may not be just a calm, hey, this is bothering me. It may be like they in a frantic state, you know, and I don't know, like, because that kind of goes into the definition of forgiveness, which is kind of like a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance towards a person or group who has harmed you, regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness.
See, I think that's kind of what I just said.
Yeah.
But like, I think the key thing in that definition is what it says: release feelings of resentment and vengeance. So that's what I was looking for. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that's not always readily available in that moment.
Yeah, I'm about to say that just can't like instantly happen.
Yeah,
depending on the situation.
Mm-hmm. Like, think about it. Like when we apologize or something like that, which I guess apologizing is like a byproduct of forgiveness. You know what I mean? Or like in the same realm.
Yeah,
that's what we're asking for. Like, okay, can you find a way to let go your resentment or your vengeance or your want for vengeance towards me?
Yeah,
I think that's what I was searching for when I was asking that. I don't know. Do you agree with that? I don't know if you be seeking forgiveness.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I mean, it ain't gotta just be with like your partner. It could be with yourself or something,
or friends, just forgiveness, any type. But no, I think like my thing is like, of course, is like it, because some people can't even like just acknowledge that they were wrong or like apologize. Like some people, like if they think, like I say, that go into intention. If they believe that their intention was to do no harm, yet you get offended or it affects you in a negative manner, then that's on you. Like that's how some people think, which isn't the case. Like I say, it's about like I say, your intentions can be pure, but if someone finds it, you know, like I say, not pleasant, or they may be harmed or be offended by it, then like I say, then that's when it falls on you. But before they communicate that to you, you don't know. And like,
you don't know.
But once someone communicates that to you, that's when you just got to have like that level of
maturity.
Yeah. To just say, well, I'm sorry.
Or accountability.
Yeah. Say, I'm sorry. That weren't my intentions, but if it made you feel that way, I apologize.
Okay. When you say that, do you follow that up with, okay, do you forgive me?
No, I just, there, I just learned, okay, well, if I did that, I know now not to do that because I didn't mean it that way. So I just won't do that anymore, you know, or I won't say that, or, okay, I know that's off limits. Don't talk about that. Or, you know, just like, okay, well, I know where that was a little too far. It's just taking accountability for your part.
That's true.
And it's like,
that's true. And I think I'm on the other side of that. Like, and it's just me, my own personal upbringing and stuff like that. I think I'm a person I need to hear, I forgive you.
Really?
I think so. Yeah, I am. Like, cause I will ask that. Like, you know, I apologize. I'm sorry. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you forgive me? You know what I'm saying?
I've never asked
but not
a person at a day in my life, do you forgive me? I've apologized. I've given context. And then from there, I just changed my behavior. Because if I change my behavior and you still upset after I apologize,
then
and I
that's
change
just
my behavior, it's nothing else I can do.
So there is no forgiveness at that point, right?
If they don't forgive me after that, then there's nothing. What else can I do?
Yeah, that's just the end of the road for that. Yeah,
it's like I've done everything I can on my part. It won't happen again, and I've acknowledged what was wrong, or you were offended by it, and after that, I literally can't do anything else.
Agreeing to disagree is not forgiveness.
I mean, I guess that could be a form, but agreeing to disagree, that sometimes, I mean,
yeah,
it may not have that level of intensity. Like we may just be talking about something random, and we just got different opinions.
Well, like
and that's just that.
My bad.
It's like there's no forgiveness involved. It's just we see stuff different ways, and I can't convince you, and you can't convince me. So let's just agree to disagree.
That's true. Because like I was just thinking about that when you were saying how like there's some people that just don't think they're wrong. You know what I mean? Do those people even allow for forgiveness? Is it even? I'm just thinking about situations where forgiveness just doesn't happen. You know?
Well, I mean, like, because you kind of start going into accountability, and that's a thing into itself. Where, like I said, people in their mind think, well, that wasn't my intention. So how if it makes someone feel a different way, then whatever. I don't care because that's not how I meant it. And that's not taking accountability or having empathy. I mean, sometimes stuff can just be ridiculous, you know. Like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Because especially in today's times, people might be offended by the smallest things.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that contextual element.
But at the same time, my bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. And then you just know, okay. You may find it trivial or a bit ridiculous, but again, now you know how to like conduct yourself around them, or when it comes to that.
I want to read you a quote. Is this okay? I'm sorry. Were you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and this is kind of like because I want to read this, then I want to ask you another question. Okay. It says, "Forgiveness is." I'm sorry, guys. Forgiveness is in part a willingness to drop the narrative on a particular injustice, to stop telling ourselves over and over again the story of what happened, what this other person did, how we were injured, and all the rest of the upsetting things we remind ourselves in relation to this unforgettable act, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever. Unforgivable act, I'm sorry. It's a decision to let the past be what it was, to leave it as it is, imperfect, and not what we wish it had been. Forgiveness means that we stop the shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
They stop all that. You know what I mean? And the idea that we can create a different, better past. Like you let go of trying to make a better past.
Yeah.
And I read that quote as a precursor to this question. When you're the one that's dishing out forgiveness, how do you go about that?
How do I go about dishing out forgiveness?
Yeah, like I mean, maybe you want. I mean, some people say they don't forgive.
Well, like I say, it's two parts for me. First, you got to take accountability for whatever you did to even need forgiveness for. So you need to say,
I messed this up.
Yeah, and apologize and say you were wrong. Don't just say sorry, because you can just say sorry and that can be empty. Yeah, I've had empty sorries given to me dozens of times, and I was like, you're just saying
that, that don't mean nothing.
So it's like, acknowledge you're wrong. That's important to me. Accountability, but then it's like two parts. After that, it's like the change behavior. Because if you just keep, in my mind or perspective, if you just keep doing something that
you know
we just caused the rift, and I say,
but it's not cool.
I've acknowledged that part, communicated that to you, and then you go back and do the same thing, but you apologize. I mean, you weren't truly sorry because you back to doing the same thing. Yes. So I'm gonna say, I think the two parts of forgiveness to me is the accountability and the account. You don't even have to apologize. You can just acknowledge what you did and say it was wrong.
That's what it be.
And then from there, it's like the change behavior. And then after that, if you change your behavior, then I'm like, okay, you really meant it, and we're good now. I think that's my forgiveness. If I'm back good with someone, like we good now. Mm-hmm. So I think those are my.
That's how somebody makes amends with
yeah. Because if you don't change the behavior, then I don't. Words just words. Like I can say anything to anybody. I'm an engineer and work for NASA.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not true. It's like you can say anything. Like so I don't. I mean, there's power in the tongue, and I do believe that the words hold weight. But at the end of the day, you can literally say anything. Like you can just
you can blurt out any kind of statement.
So just saying sorry, my fault. Like if you continue doing the same thing, come on. Like,
No, I definitely.
That's what I say. Is, for me, it's the change behavior that goes into forgiveness.
Okay, I think for myself, when I'm like giving forgiveness, I will agree with you. Kind of like you, I just want the wrong admitted to.
Yeah,
and then I'm more of a discussion based person.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna say, let me tell you why this rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And you messed this up, because I gotta give that right there to go back to the quote. That's what gives me the willingness to drop the narrative on a particular situation.
Yeah.
So like, let me tell you, like listen to me. Like, let me tell you why you messed up and how it affected me, and then like from here I can let it go, because now you know if you do that, that's what you know. What I'm saying, that's what the results are of that action.
Yeah, because communication is so important. And I've had situations where people do something, give me an empty sorry, then
make you feel.
If I don't just instantly perk up and cheer up, now they upset with me. Like, dang, I apologize. Like, that wasn't small. What you just
that's
did.
5 minutes ago, bro.
Like, nah, like that don't just make the world go back to sunshine and rainbows for me. Like. But I don't know. It's different too, because I'm pretty thick skinned. So if you do something to me that get me to the point where I'm offended or feel wrong,
it's probably something.
Yeah. So I definitely got to have a conversation and stuff. Because like perspective is just.
It's exactly that perspective. It's
everyone's perspective.
It's
is
so
different,
subjective.
So you can just see stuff. And that's all life is, our perspective. So it can be the same thing, but two people can see it completely different.
Exactly.
So sometimes that's all it is. And you don't even think about it or see it the way someone else sees it. So say just communication about it. And guess that gets you to that forgiveness. I'm just thinking. I'm sorry. I don't know. My mind is running because it's such a complex thing, like forgiveness, because like, and you kind of got to be in a space for it. Like you said, like just because you say sorry don't mean I'm going to be ready to forgive now. Yeah. It's definitely a process for people. Because there's a article, The Ancient Heart of Forgiveness by Jack Kornfield. And of course the link will be in the bio.
Yes, sir.
So he kind of just talks about how there's 12 steps of forgiveness, and we can kind of like go through them and talk about them.
Okay.
The first one is to understand what forgiveness is and what it is not. He was like, it's not condoning. It's not a papering over. It's not for the other person. It's not sentimental. And that's the first one. And I think that's so true. Like,
okay.
I was about to, how, like you say, it's not like you just say sorry and like.
I was just about to say that.
That's
exactly
the end all be all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We just gonna gloss over this.
Yeah. And I always use that analogy. Like, bro, once you punch that hole in the wall, you can put a poster over it, but that hole still gonna be there. Like, you got to like tend to that and like
do something about it.
Yeah, that's active. You can't, and I think a sorry, that's all it is just throwing something over it, and that don't lead to forgiveness. I think actually going and filling that hole and repaint, like that process of doing it is what leads to forgiveness.
It really patches it up.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was really about to say the same thing. What's the next one?
Okay, so the next one is
just out of
sense the suffering in yourself of still holding on to this lack of forgiveness for yourself or for another. Start to feel that it's not compassionate, that you have this great suffering that's not in your own best interest. So you actually sense the weight of not forgiving. And that's true. And because like you said, that quote about like how like somebody can harm you. And like I said, if they don't feel that they in the wrong, they just keep living their life while you just holding on to all that and feeling the weight of it and carrying that.
Exactly. And the article said, I put that in the description as well. It basically says somebody can harm you and they don't even realize it, but you're hurt.
Yeah.
They could be off in like Hawaii or like Paris or something, living it up, not giving up.
Yeah.
You know,
while you're
F
in the
word.
house.
You know,
it's on your mind constantly, and that's all you can think about.
And you become like you said, you become a prisoner to your own suffering because you haven't took the steps to deal with it. Right.
Yeah, and then step 3 is reflect on the benefits of a loving heart. And then he quotes a Buddhist text where it says that your dreams become sweeter. You wake more easily. Men and women will love you. Angels and devils will love you. If you lose things, they will be returned. People will welcome you everywhere when you are forgiving and loving. Your thoughts become pleasant. Animals will sense this and love you. Elephants will bow as you go by. Try it at the zoo. I don't know. But I guess it's just talking about basically just reflect on the benefits of a loving heart and how that is infectious. And
that's basically saying like you better off just doing it so you don't feel bad.
Yeah. And then step 4 is discover that it is not necessary to be loyal to your suffering. That is a big one. We are so loyal to our suffering, focusing on the trauma and the betrayal of what happened to me. Okay, it happened. It was horrible. But is that what defines you? Live in joy, says Buddha. Look at the Dalai Lama who bears the weight of the oppression of the oppression in Tibet and the loss of his culture, and yet he's also a very happy and joyful person. He says, they have taken so much, they have destroyed temples, burned our texts, disrobed our monks and nuns, limited our culture, and destroyed it in so many ways. Why should I also let them take my joy and peace of mind?
Now, I want to pause you right there because like that one is important, and it kind of like ties into the next one, which I'll highlight, because the next one just goes about how forgiveness is a process, basically, right? Just give it some real world context. Like we live in the year 2021. You know what I mean? We're all pretty aware of the brutalization and the unlawful killings of black bodies by police officers, right? Yeah, and for people in authority, you know. Mostly those of the majority, you know what I'm saying, demographic. And then you have these mothers and these families on the news station, you know what I'm saying, that they put in front of the mic like the same day it happened, you know what I mean? Like, and then like what do we expect them to do? Are they supposed to say we forgive the police department, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or like when they finally do go to trial and stuff happen, like, you know what I'm saying, what do we expect from them? Are they being, you know what I'm saying, are they being prisoners to their suffering? Or are they just going through a process? Or are the two combined? You know what I mean? I battle with that. You know what I'm saying? Because if it happened to me and my loved ones, I just wouldn't know what my process would look like for forgiveness. If it's even a possibility at all, you know.
Yeah, because I think like that last thing was like he was saying like so much has been taken away from me. Why let them take my joy and my peace of mind? Okay, because it's like so much has been taken away constantly, and like I say, you can literally just be a slave to your suffering.
That's true,
and just live in it.
That's true.
Because it's always gonna be there.
It is. Like you can't take the fact away that this woman's son is gone, or daughter is gone. Like that's just a reality of the situation, right? Okay. Nah, I mean, I just think it's interesting. I just think it got a lot of like modern context to it because we're seeing it so much. You know what I mean? Like remember, like I think it was the Botham Jean killing.
Yeah,
and Bagaya. Then remember when like she got off, and then like the family hugged her.
Yeah, the brother.
And I was just like,
that's
you know what I'm saying.
Level of
you know what I'm saying. We don't gotta get too political, but I'm just saying like things like that. It's just like, man, like.
Yeah, because people kind of erupted about that, and it was like, "There's forgiveness," but that's like
wow,
another level.
Yeah, that's wow, man.
He's saying "I love you" and then hugging you and stuff.
Oh man,
that somebody you grew up with your entire life is gone because of that person.
It's gone just like that. Or maybe that goes back to what I think that was number 3 about like having a forgiving heart. Maybe you gotta maybe you gotta do that to let go.
Yeah, I mean, like I say. I think there's levels to forgiveness too, and like it can really test where you are as a person. Because I mean, if you said something that rubbed me the wrong way, or some little small action, okay, I can forgive that pretty easy. But killing a loved one, that's a different level.
Yeah. And then we can go. I mean, if you want to finish that list, we can. But I just had another thing.
Oh, go ahead.
No, like just like. Another modern contextual element of this whole conversation. It's just how we have I don't even want to call it sensitive culture right now. I just think that we are. I think a lot of people are righting a lot of wrongs. I think a lot of like ideologies and mythologies are being corrected.
Yeah,
mainly by those that have been on the receiving end of that oppression. Whether it be minorities, women, people of color, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, there is a kind of like a understood code of conduct now, I guess.
Yeah.
As far as how you speak, how you talk, how you can tweet, how you can post and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like what
that cancel culture is like.
Yeah, cancel culture.
It started off like with I think noble intents, but now it's just like
if you say something I don't like, I can.
Or it doesn't even have to be something in the present. It can be something years
ago,
maybe minute, and it's like there's no room for error. And
man,
it's like
I know, man.
Sometimes I wonder about that because it's like we are all human.
We are.
So at some point, someone did something that someone didn't like.
Exactly.
Now, to the degree. That's where contextually some stuff I'm with you like no that's just wrong.
Yeah,
like, I don't care if you was 17 or 55 like some stuff is just no, you can't do that. You're not supposed to kid you're not, so I get it. Like I say, it's all contextual. It's like you can't generalize this stuff though, but it's like
hey, if somebody pulls up one of my tweets from freaking 2010, I was literally like 16 years old, right?
Yeah.
They bring it up now. I had to then defend a 16-year-old Julius, a 16-year-old mine, a 16-year-old. My life experiences up until 16.
Yeah, even though you didn't really know anything.
Even though I'm 11 years removed now.
Yeah.
And when I ask for forgiveness, what am I really asking for? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, what am I really asking for? Am I asking for them to just...
But see, I think sometimes forgiveness is extending grace to someone.
Okay. Okay.
Especially like in that situation where it's like, okay, he was 16. Like, you're not thinking, you just flying off the handle, just talking, and you don't know anything about anything. You got like a construed perception of reality and life in itself.
Norms are different.
You hadn't been through anything yet, or you have, it's like you still under your parents, so it's just,
Yeah.
So it's like that is like, okay. I think that's when it comes into like forgiveness is just giving grace to grow, because it's like, okay, that was clearly a little, a little offensive. But it's like, how is he now? Is he still doing it 11 years later? Then it's a different conversation compared to you went on to be a great man and do so much for your community and all this great stuff. But you just
had a childish tweet.
Yeah, where one thing was just a little wild. And it's like, are you going to judge a man by his complete body of work? Or just that one action and forget everything he did for 11 years after? And I think that's kind of where that whole council culture, because they really do just go into that solely, and they'll just forget everything else that you've done for the years after. And
I search my Twitter name with like the problematic words. I've done it before just to see what pops up. And man.
We're all, as I say, sometimes forgiveness is just allowing grace to grow.
Yeah, grace to grow, or giving that understanding. Like, well, he was 16. You know what I mean? Like you said, he's good. The grace to grow. You're definitely
it's like if a 16-year-old was to like give me their life plan, it's definitely, they're not gonna think about the hardships and stuff. Like, so it's gonna always be like from a different perspective because they haven't, experienced the real world yet. So it's kind of like, what do you expect? Like, it's like you can only expect so much from a kid,
Yeah, I think so. Now I'm just reading through some of these other steps, and like they're all pretty good. Like his, I mean, we'll post the like you said, the article for this. Like, here's 11. It says forgiveness involves a shift of identity. There is in us an undying capacity for love and freedom that is untouched by what happens to you. To come back to this true nature is the work of forgiveness. So that's like somebody that was a prisoner to that suffering to get back to themselves through understanding. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? I got to get back to me, get back to my identity or whatever, you know what I'm saying, through this process,
And I think the biggest thing about forgiveness.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. The biggest thing about forgiveness is it's about you, not the other person. Like, that's for your mental health. That's a bar. So like you say, so you're not a slave to the suffering and just constantly thinking about that. It's to free your mind. Because like you say, that other person can be sorry or not sorry and he continue his life. Yet you're carrying the burden. Yet you're the victim per se in the situation. So it's like, it's for you to be able to move on with your life. And it's not saying you got to forget it or not acknowledge it, but it's for you, for the betterment of your life to move on from it,
And I would give you the flip side. In seeking forgiveness, it's about you as well. Because I've been in situations like, man, I really hurt this person's feelings. Like, I should go apologize. I should go ask for forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? Or at least ask for the space for forgiveness, I guess I should say, after what we talked about. Because I think that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, I'm the kind of person... That's just because I hold, I value people and stuff like that. I hold that on that to that too. Like if I know I hurt someone, or I hurt someone's feelings, or like I hear it through somebody else or something like that, such and such never told you, but you really hurt their feelings when you did, yada, yada, yada. I'd be like, dang, especially if it's like one of my friends or something like that. It's like, dang, like that wasn't my intention. Now, I actually think one of the steps is set your intention. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That wasn't my intention. So I become a prisoner to seeking forgiveness. But like you said, it's to free my mind. At least I can say, even if they don't forgive me,
that's what
they can tell me to kick rocks. You know what I'm saying? At least
I'm gonna do everything on my part to make it right.
Right.
But beyond that, then it's not on. I can't do anything else. But I've done all I can, so I'm at peace with it. I've apologized. When made sure you knew I was sorry, and I'm not just saying sorry just to get you to leave me alone. And
exactly.
I'm correcting my actions because I think that's big for me too. Like if I do something and I know it was wrong or it caused somebody harm or hurt their feelings or something, like I'm gonna apologize. And how I show it, like I say, is through my actions. It'll never happen again. I don't even play. I'll alter my life, whatever I got to do, because that's not something I want to do. That's not my intention. That's not the type of person I am. And I do care, like when it comes to people. So it's not something I'm gonna just be like, oh, well, that's on you.
Yeah.
Like, nah.
And they got people like that.
Yeah.
A lot of people like that, actually.
Yeah. And see, those are the type of people that like say, well, that's on you for being so sensitive. Or you just gonna carry that and just keep carrying it while they just keep living because they don't care. That's where that whole forgiveness for yourself comes in. So you don't have to just live with that suffering and just be a prisoner of it. Because clearly that's not the type of person they are. They're not empathetic. They don't have any accountability. None of that. So
it's crazy you say that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, I was just thinking because like And social media would have you think that that's how you should be, like this cold-hearted, like blocked off person. I don't need nobody.
I said what I said.
Yeah, I said what I said.
If it offend you, that's on you.
Yeah, like, bro, like that's not how real life works. And a person that's like that is going to carry a lot of burden in their life. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, as much, it's crazy how like we're using social media platforms to promote how antisocial we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A little irony in that.
Yeah, there's a little irony in that right there. It's just counter culture. No, but I think this is a very good topic because like this is something everybody deals with.
Yeah.
Like this, you're not gonna go through life like you said without hurting nobody's feelings. Like you said, you're a human being, and we are all going through life in our separate paths and our separate ways. You learning something different than I am.
Yeah, I'm not saying we all learning it on the go. There's no
manual for it.
Yeah, there's no manual for life.
No manual for it.
And then it's like all people are different. So
yeah,
what I do might not offend you, but it might offend somebody else. And it's like, you know, there's no universal way to just exist that's unproblematic to everyone.
I think, you know, I got some educators that are friends and they say that's a very key component in their teaching. Like, just like dealing with like young adults, younger generation. It's like actually brokering forgiveness between one another. You know what I mean? Like, cause like you got this person who might come from a totally different culture, but they all in this class together. It's probably some free conversation going on. Somebody say something, do something, then boom, it happens that quick. You know what I mean? And now they got to go through this whole process of doing it. And I think that is a very key integral thing that some of my friends are saying that they're dealing with. Because, you know, we're like late 20s, so some of them are like early in their career with teaching, and they're just like, you know, learning that too. Yeah. So, did you have anything else, man? I go on about this.
Man, go for it. Have something, but I think that's it. I think we kind of like touched on like the complexities of forgiveness. And
I'll be honest, when we first talked, you know, about this topic, and like this switch just really just happened. I was just thinking more about forgiveness as me forgiving somebody. Yeah. I really didn't think until we start talking about it when I actually look for forgiveness. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It just made me realize like it's two sides to that coin, you know?
Yeah. Cause I don't, like I say, because I'm pretty aware of who I am. So if something does come up where I have to say so, I don't mind because I know how it can be taken. And like I said, I just do what I can on my part, and I don't necessarily worry about.
I think that's a big takeaway.
Because it's like I can only do so much. It's like, you know, and like I might straight up ask you like, okay, well, what can I do if it's get to that point? Normally it's something I know how to correct, but if not, I can ask. And if they just say, well, there's nothing, it's like, okay. I've never been in a situation where it was that intense though, but normally it's just me just changing the behavior and knowing like, okay, you know, just kind of learning the person more and knowing.
I guess the last thing I want to ask you about, this is what I was thinking about too. When you do get the forgiveness, or when you do give the forgiveness, I know we talked about like, we kind of touched on making amends. Like, what does that amending, what does that look like for you? Like, if we have a rough patch, I say, man, Ed, do you forgive me? You be like, yeah, bro. Like, because it's kind of like a gray area.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's kind of say like how you touched in it into like where it's like a conversation. Yeah. Where there's accountability had. Yeah. And then beyond that, it's kind of like the change behavior or like you saying what your intentions are so that don't happen anymore, you know? Where you can say, oh, well, I didn't know that. Well, I won't do that again. Sorry. And then it's like, that's where the forgiveness comes when you like saying what you're going to do to prevent that from happening again. Exactly. Because if you just tell me sorry and it happened again, I'm like,
bro, yeah, it's like, bro, come on,
the sorry don't work at that point, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
you only got one good one.
Yeah, because that's how I am. Like, I understand stuff happening. We all human, but if you keep doing the same stuff over and over, and you just say sorry, at that point, you don't really care because you just doing what you want to do, and I done communicated that it's offended me or whatever. But
right.
If you're just gonna say sorry, like that's when sorry don't hold weight at all. Like that's just a word to me at that point. It's like that's when the change behavior come into play.
Yeah, and that's right.
But if it's like an instant forgiveness, that's how it works for me. It's like we had a conversation, and then you just tell me your intent for that to never happen again. And once you say that, knowing, okay, well, you got a plan, you really plan on, then that's when they can be like, okay, that's where the forgiveness would happen for me.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah, because like I just want to say, like, how you somebody change behavior, like that gives me the playbook for how I need to change. You know what I mean? When we do that.
Or like I say, in that conversation, you can just be transparent, like, well, what do I need so that can not happen, or you don't feel that way anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
And then once that conversation had, he's like, okay, well, I'll blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Now, okay, thank you. That's all I was. You know,
it be like, it's crazy how simple of it is, just like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I know for a lot of people, it kind of becomes a gray area. It's like, okay, how do we operate together now?
Yeah.
But nah, man. I just, I mean, we've been friends for a long time, so there has to be forgiveness in between.
Yeah, that's what I said. Because I haven't just been just a pleasant the whole angel the whole time. I had moments where I didn't upset you and stuff, and
I about to say I done got passionate before. You know what I'm saying?
I'd say like, sorry, and my bad, it won't happen again.
And this is another thing about like us growing up. I know we kind of talked about it with Earlton before, like knowing that. Well, I'm man enough to say sorry. I'm man enough to say, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was man enough to say I want forgiveness, to even know that I need it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah, because I do take showing a level of transparency and vulnerability to even say that.
Because to do that, you got to admit you're wrong.
Yeah.
You got to admit what you did. You know what I mean?
And like I say, and then just saying sorry, and then just saying, well, really, like, that's what I say. The sorry don't mean enough if you not gonna take accountability of what you did wrong, like, or your part in it. And
then there's so many passive forms of sorry. Some people are like, "Well, I really ain't mean that, bro." You know what I'm saying? Like that'd be their sorry.
That don't work.
Oh man.
But like I said, depending on how you come at me with the apology, that's how the forgiveness gonna go. Because if you just say something like that, or I didn't know you was tripping like that, or I think you was just kind of tripping.
I didn't know you was tripping like that. That's such a backhanded.
Like that, yeah.
That's a backhanded. Sorry, apology.
Or what's the one that's such a backhanded apology? I'm sorry that offended something. I've heard a lot of backhanded.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
That's it. Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry you feel that way. That's the one.
That triggered me.
Yeah.
What? That's not even acknowledged. That's like
I'm sorry you feel that way.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
No. And that go into the accountability part. Like you're not taking no accountability for anything. You just saying, I'm sorry you feel that way. Like you're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry for how I feel, which is like saying,
this doesn't involve
that's on
me.
you.
Yeah, this doesn't involve me.
That's a nice way of saying, well, that's on you.
Yeah, that's on you. That's on you. That's what I. That's on you, bro. What? See,
I'm sorry you feel that way. Yeah, that's the one. I've heard that one a few times. And that's
just people running for the truth of themselves and what they did,
or not taking accountability.
Yeah,
and that when you do stuff like that, the forgiveness won't be. That'll just
yeah. Dang, this gets so much deep. Like, because I want to ask, like, when does forgiveness not even be an option no more? You know what I'm saying?
Well, when people, like I said, when people don't acknowledge they part of taking the accountability, then at that point, I just know, okay, that is what it is. It's just out the window, and I have to move accordingly now.
That'll probably just be the ending of my dealings with you.
Yeah, like, pretty much. Or like,
Now I can understand that. You know what I mean? Like, okay,
but at that point, me not dealing with you no more is me giving you on my side. Like not you per se, because we're not about to be whatever dynamic we had, we won't have anymore. But that's me saying, okay, I'm at peace with this, and this is what it is, and
just like
that's who they are.
Just like the quote say.
So that way, you're not just living in that and being angry, or it's like no, you.
Look, the quote said, it's a decision to let the past be what it was, to leave it as it is, imperfect, and not what we wish it had been. Like, I can't wish you didn't slap me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't wish that you, like, man, I wish Ed never just punched me in my chest. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to just leave. Okay, you did that.
Then you don't feel that you were okay. We just got to leave it where it is. We got to leave it where it is
now. You know what I mean?
And that is a form of forgiveness itself.
It is.
In a sense.
Oh, and we ain't even get into forgiving ourselves. Ooh. Now that's the big battle.
Yeah.
I'm still working that out. I'm still working that one out, bro. Yeah. But shoot, man. You got anything else for the people, man? You want to take us out?
Yeah, we thank you guys for joining us once again on the Transferable Experience podcast, episode 12. Remember to do all the things on all the things, and we will talk to y'all next time.
Peace and blessings.